Now, another federal agency in the crosshairs of D.O.G.E. is the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And with that comes the risk of losing invaluable scientific research. One group that's being affected is beekeepers, who say cutbacks and layoffs couldn't come at a worse time. The bee population is declining, and funding cuts could threaten efforts to protect them. Danielle Downey is executive director at Project APIS M, a nonprofit focused on honeybee health and supporting beekeepers. And she joins me now from Rapid City, South Dakota. Danielle, thank you for joining us here in the program.
Thank you.
Now, first, tell us, what do bees do for us? You know, we know that they play a role in pollination and crops, but how big a role do they play in food production?
Well, it's hard to overstate the role that bees play. Every year, about 2 million colonies of honeybees are moved on 18-wheelers to put down on crops that need pollination. So almonds, for example, require over 2 million colonies of honeybees or you don't get an almond crop. So it's a very important part of our food supply.
Bees do a lot of heavy lifting in our food supply and food production. Can the work that they do be replicated by humans or drones?
No, and I think that's one of the most alarming things about these losses is that they're sudden and high. We don't know what caused them. And if bees fail, and if the businesses that provide these pollinators fail, there's really no backup plan. The agriculture system is on such a scale that there's not a natural pollinator that could do that job.
Yeah, so much at stake here. You have an entire industry, the food industry, food itself, if bees are lost. And bees right now are significantly declining in numbers. Millions have died so far this year. Why is this? What is happening here?
We don't know. We are still waiting for answers. There are samples that are being analyzed right now, and we're really hoping that our partners at the USDA will be able to share with us what they're seeing. Unfortunately, the trend is clear. So this year's losses are extreme, but over many years, the losses of bee colonies has been going up and up, and the major threats to those colonies remain unchecked.
You call this year's losses extreme. Danielle, have you ever
Yes.
seen losses like this before? And when you talk to beekeepers, what are they telling you?
Well, these are the worst losses in recorded history.
Wow.
Since colony collapse disorder, we've been taking really good records of the losses, and this year is much more than we've ever seen before.
So this is turning into a crisis, and as you laid out the top, a food security issue. So what is the worst case scenario here? You know, what would happen if bees, heaven forbid, go extinct?
Well, honeybees are not in danger of going extinct. They're very resilient, and that's why we can manage them and move them around on trucks. But the real danger is that if these businesses fail that provide pollination on these trucks, you can imagine it's a very specialized, multi-generational farming that's nomadic and moving these bees to where they're needed. And there's probably 1,000 businesses approximately that provide this, and with them losing 60, 70, 80% of their business and having to rebuild without knowing what caused it, you can imagine that's a pretty perilous situation for these businesses.
Yeah, the beekeeping industry is risking losing up to 80% of their business. You got our attention here. I want to help. Our viewers want to help. What can we do to help, shore up not just bee populations, but the industry that supports them?
Well, we need all hands on deck. We need more research to understand the problems. We know what's killing bees. It's things like pesticides and parasites and viruses, and we need more habitat. There's just fewer flowers on the landscape to support bees naturally, and so every year there's less honey, every year there's higher losses. These are really unsung heroes in our food supply, and if we lose them, we'll lose some of our favorite foods. It'll be less available and more expensive, and there's already a lot of reasons that food is going to get more expensive. So we really need to start caring about healthy bees and reinvesting in the landscape that will support them.
Absolutely. Danielle Downey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.